No one saw them coming. The sky broke open over New Tokyo at 2:17 a.m. First, a loud hum. Then, a flash. Then, silence. Seconds later, the first alien ship entered Earth's atmosphere. It was huge, over 2 kilometers wide. Cold, black metal, smooth like glass. It didn't make a sound as it floated above the city. People stared. Phones recorded. The internet exploded. But within minutes, the videos went dark. Power grids failed. Satellites blinked out. Then came the noise. A low, deep sound. Like thunder underwater. People covered their ears. Windows cracked. Then, the ship opened fire. The Kethari had arrived. For years, humanity had wondered if we were alone. Scientists sent signals. Built telescopes. Searched the stars. But when aliens finally came, they didn't send a message. They didn't ask to speak. They came to kill. By morning, 6 major cities were gone. New Tokyo, Lagos, Chicago, Sydney, Mumbai, Paris. Each hit by a single, powerful blast. The Kethari didn't use missiles or lasers. Their weapons bent gravity and time, pulling buildings apart like paper. The United Nations called an emergency meeting. But the feed cut off halfway through. A Kethari cruiser destroyed the Geneva HQ at 9:14 a.m. In less than 12 hours, over 100 million people were dead. The aliens weren't here to rule. They weren't here to study. They were here to clean. To them, humans were a level 9 contamination risk. Not worth saving. Not safe to keep alive. Too emotional. Too aggressive. Too unpredictable. In their language, humanity was labeled with one word. Zerha, the mistake that spreads. Earth's defenses tried to fight. Fighter jets rose into the sky. Missile silos launched everything they had. Space stations fired railguns into orbit. Nothing worked. Kethari ships moved like thoughts. Fast, quiet, deadly. Human tech couldn't lock on. Couldn't damage their shields. Every counterattack failed. By the end of day 1, the moon was lost. Its base destroyed. Its surface cracked. A piece of it even fell into the Pacific Ocean, creating waves that sank half of Indonesia. By day 2, Mars went silent. In a bunker under Washington, D.C., President Halvorsen spoke to the world. We are not extinct. We are not finished. We will fight back. But her voice trembled. Behind her eyes, everyone saw the truth. We weren't fighting. We were surviving. Across the world, the story was the same. Cities burning. Skies full of alien metal. Families hiding underground. Soldiers firing bullets that did nothing. Then came day 3. That's when the Nairobi Strike happened. Nairobi was supposed to fall. A Kethari landship, 5 stories tall, rolled into the city center. It had armor stronger than any human tank. It carried drones, weapons, even a portable shield. But something unexpected happened. A single platoon, 19 soldiers, decided not to run. They called themselves the Black Dust Unit. Most were young. Some had only trained for riots, not alien invasions. Their leader was Sergeant Amina Rao, 31 years old, with a scar across her left eye and no family left to lose. The unit had one plan: don't win. Hurt them. Make them bleed. They hijacked a construction mech. Bolted armor plates to its arms. Wired explosive charges to its legs. They dragged a stolen missile onto a truck and drove it straight into the Kethari landship. The explosion shook the entire city. The landship didn't explode, but it cracked open. For the first time, a Kethari machine stopped moving. 1 alien died. Maybe 2. But the impact was much bigger than that. The attack went viral. People across the world watched grainy footage of human soldiers making an alien war machine stumble. And the Kethari, they noticed too. For the first time in 3 days. They paused. Later that night, an intercepted message from a Kethari scout ship translated into 6 words. Resistance encountered. Unusual behavior. Recalculate protocol. It wasn't victory. It was a spark. Back in Nairobi, only 5 of the 19 Black Dust soldiers survived. Sergeant Rao lost both legs. She died hours later. But her name spread across every human broadcast. People no longer whispered in fear. Now they remembered her name. They shouted it. Rao became a symbol. Not of strength, but of stubborn, hopeless, human rage. By day 4, the war changed. Not because we had better weapons. Not because we were ready. But because anyone finally said. No more. Sergeant Rao was dead. But her fight wasn't. By the end of day 3, the video of her unit's attack had been copied, downloaded, and spread across every surviving network. No one cared if it was low quality. No one cared if it was real or edited. All they saw was one thing. An alien war machine falling. In the dark corners of bunkers, on battery-powered radios, on cracked screens, people began to whisper. If they can bleed, maybe they can die. Day 4 started like the others. Alien ships still blocked the sky. Cities still burned. Governments were still falling. But something had changed. In Sao Paulo, a retired engineer named Marcos Ribeiro rewired a mining drone to follow voice commands. He tied it with bombs, programmed it to walk into the next Kethari patrol and sent it off singing an old football chant. 3 aliens died. In New Delhi, university students used leftover lab chemicals to build napalm. They poured it into balloons. From the roofs, they threw them onto passing Kethari scouts. The smell of burning metal filled the street. In a broken-down station near Berlin, 2 hackers turned an old museum's Tesla coil into a lightning weapon. It worked once, and melted half the station. But it also fried a Kethari spy drone. The message was clear. The spark had spread. That day, someone named it. They called it the Unity Protocol. No more countries. No more flags. No more borders. Just one species. One fight. One chance to survive. At the edge of Earth's orbit, the last surviving human fleet gathered. Dozens of damaged ships, refitted with scavenged alien tech. Most had no weapons left. Some had no shields. But they had something else. A reason. The fleet was led by Admiral Rafiq callsign Ashes. He had once been a quiet man. Calm. Careful. He had studied alien contact for 20 years. Now, he wore the same uniform every day, black, burned, patched up with his daughter's old flag. She had died on day 1. In New Tokyo. He never spoke of her. But he never stopped fighting. Ashes gave the order to strike. Target, Kethari command ship in low orbit. All ships. All crews. No retreat. Someone on the comms asked. Sir, what if we lose? He answered. Then we lose. Loudly. The humans knew the mission was suicide. They knew their ships were weaker. Slower. Easier to kill. But they also knew something the Kethari didn't. Humans don't run forever. They turn. They fight. They break things on the way down. The attack began at 4 o'clock UTC. The Kethari command ship was the size of a city. Floating just above the atmosphere. No human weapon had ever touched it. Until now. Human ships moved in strange patterns. They didn't follow logic. Some turned at random. Some flew in loops. Others seemed to break formation for no reason. Kethari AI couldn't understand it. They called it erratic combat behavior. Humans called it, doing whatever it takes. 3 ships crashed straight into the Kethari hull. They weren't empty. Each carried stolen fuel cores turned into bombs. The explosion cracked the ship's outer shell. Then came the Nemesis Dawn. Ash's flagship. Old. Scarred. Missing half its weapons. But it carried one thing, a black hole bomb. Built in secret. Illegal under every treaty. Only tested once in theory. Ashes didn't hesitate. He spoke 3 words. Light it up. And the stars bent. The bomb tore a hole in space. Pulled half the Kethari command ship inside it. Ripped pieces of the ship into nothing. It didn't destroy the whole ship. But it broke the Kethari's will. They had never seen humans do this. Not just die. But die on purpose. With rage. With fire. With the clear message. You may kill us but you'll remember us. Ashes didn't survive. But the world did. For now. By the end of day 4, humans had won 4 battles. They had destroyed 2 alien ships. They had sent one message across the stars. We are not prey. The Kethari paused again. Their leaders held a meeting. And once more, a strange message was intercepted. They do not follow known behavior patterns. They are irrational. Aggressive. They are becoming dangerous. And for the first time since the invasion began, the Kethari took a step back. The war was far from over. But something had changed. Humanity was no longer running. We were pushing back. And the galaxy had just learned a simple truth. When you corner a human, you'd better kill them fast. Because if you don't, they will come for you. Day 5. The world was broken. Skies were dark. Cities were quiet. Oceans had changed color. Billions were dead. But somehow, humanity was still alive. After the black hole attack, the Kethari no longer moved with confidence. They still had ships. Weapons. Power. But now, they had fear. They didn't understand why humans would destroy their own ships to kill one enemy. They didn't understand why humans would fight, even when they had no hope. They didn't understand why death didn't stop us, it only made us angrier. In the remains of Europe, survivors used old rail lines to move supplies. Underground tunnels became cities. Children were born without ever seeing the sky. But they still heard the stories. Of Sergeant Rao. Of Admiral Ashes. Of the Nairobi Strike. They drew their names on the walls. In North America, pilots trained in abandoned theme parks. Roller coasters became launch tracks, fighters launched between broken buildings, using streets as runways. One group of civilians, mostly farmers and truckers, rebuilt an old space shuttle. They loaded it with homemade rockets and sent it straight into orbit. The Kethari didn't see it coming. It smashed into their refueling station. No one came back alive. But they took 200 Kethari with them. In every corner of Earth, humanity was doing the one thing it had always done well. Adapt. In Antarctica, scientists found something. Buried deep under the ice. Old alien tech. Left behind from a race that had died out long before the Kethari came. No one knew how to use it. But one girl, 14 years old, blind in one eye, cracked the code. Her name was Lianjo. She had grown up in an orphan camp. Never went to school. But she loved machines. And she had no fear. With her help, humans turned that alien core into a new kind of energy. It powered the first human-made plasma weapon. They called it Ghost Fire. Ghost Fire wasn't perfect. It overheated. It melted through walls. It had no safety system. But it worked. For the first time, Humans had a weapon that could cut through Kethari armor. By nightfall, a squad of ghost fire units attacked a Kethari landing zone in Cairo. Only 2 survived. But the aliens didn't. The Kethari watched all of this. They analyzed it. They discussed it. And they came to a new conclusion. Human threat level, elevated. Probability of long-term compliance, 0. Recommended action, total erasure or withdrawal. But total erasure takes time. And the Kethari were running out of it. Their fleets had suffered damage. Their drones were failing in Earth's harsh weather. Their soldiers were tired of fighting a species that didn't surrender. They tried to use fear. They dropped giant sound towers over cities. Machines that screamed for hours. Waves of noise designed to break human minds. But humans, already broken, didn't crack. Some danced to the sound. Others turned it into music. One video showed a man cooking eggs next to a screaming tower, ignoring it completely. It went viral. The Kethari tried to reason with us. A single message was sent to Earth's remaining leaders. Submit. You may live as workers. The reply? A photo of Sergeant Rao's grave. A human middle finger. And 3 words. Come and try. That night, the final plan began. It was called Operation Cradle Fire. A full assault on the last Kethari command tower on Earth. The tower stood in what was once Central Asia. A machine over 300 meters tall. It controlled 60% of the alien ground forces. If it fell, the invasion would collapse. But it was guarded by drones, walkers, and 2 Kethari war beasts. And humans had no more fleets. What we had were people. Over 20,000 volunteers. Most had never fired a weapon. Some had only days of training. Doctors, farmers, prisoners, engineers, teenagers. Every one of them knew. This was a one-way trip. The attack began just before sunrise. Wave after wave of humans charged the tower. Some used ghost fire rifles. Others used metal spears, explosives, even sharpened tools. The Kethari fired everything they had. But the humans kept coming. They climbed over their own fallen. They screamed in every language. They fought like animals. Like monsters. A drone captured the last moment. A young boy maybe 12 years old crawled under the tower's base with a stolen nuke strapped to his back. His name is unknown. But his action is not. The tower fell. The Kethari signal broke. And the invasion ended. Day 6. The sky was clear. No more alien ships. No more bombing runs. Just silence. Humanity had lost the war. But we had also won it. Because the Kethari fled. They didn't leave because we were stronger. They left because we were something worse. Unpredictable. Illogical. Furious. Unbreakable. They came to cleanse a planet. Instead, they woke up a species that had been sleeping. They tried to erase us. Now they carry our names in fear. Day 7. For the first time in a week, the Earth was quiet. No alien machines in the sky. No screams in the streets. No bombs. No fire. No thunder from above. Just wind. And silence. And the sound of survivors breathing. The war was over. Not because humans had crushed the Kethari. Not because we were stronger. But because they had left. They disappeared from the sky. Vanished from the oceans. Their ships retreated without a word. They never said why. They didn't need to. Every Kethari record said the same thing. Humanity is not a target. Humanity is a risk. They had come to erase a virus. Instead, they had awakened a force they could not contain. And so they ran. But the victory felt strange. Empty. The Earth had survived but barely. Entire cities were gone. Billions were dead. The oceans were poisoned. The sky was cracked with radiation lines. And every survivor carried two things: scars and rage. In the ruins of Washington, D.C., President Halvorsen walked through the remains of her old office. No walls. Just rubble and wind. She picked up a photo. Her cabinet. All gone now. She said nothing. But the next day, she spoke to the world. A global broadcast. The first clear signal since day one. Her voice was hoarse. Tired. But strong. We are alive. We are broken but breathing. And we are not afraid. Then came the part no one expected. We will rebuild. But not to return to peace. We are preparing for what comes next. Because Earth was not alone anymore. We had learned the truth. There were other species. Other powers. And some would see us as pests. Some would see us as prey. But from now on, they would think twice. The Unity Protocol stayed in place. No more nations. No more flags. Just humanity united. Factories reopened not to make food, but ships. Children went to school not to learn math, but tactics. Scientists stopped studying the stars. They started building for war. The Black Dust Unit became legend. Admiral Ashes became a symbol. Sergeant Rao became a myth. Statues were built. Songs were written. Every child knew their names. But new names were rising too. Names of engineers building faster engines. Names of hackers cracking alien code. Names of pilots training for a sky war still to come. Humanity had learned one thing. Peace was a lie we told ourselves. The universe wasn't kind. It was cold. Cruel. Full of giants that thought we were small. But now, those giants had seen what we were capable of. And they were scared. 3 months after the war ended, something strange happened. A small alien probe landed on Earth. Not Kethari. Something else. It carried no weapons. Only a message. In a soft, musical voice, the message played. We saw your war. We saw what you did. You are not like the others. You fight differently. Some see this as madness. Others see it as power. We will come soon. To speak. To offer a choice. The message ended. No one knew what it meant. Was it a threat? A warning? An invitation? Humanity didn't care. The factories kept running. The ships kept building. The weapons kept charging. We were not going to wait. We were going out there. Back into the stars. Not to explore. Not to trade. But to make sure no one ever tried to wipe us out again. And if we found the Kethari, we would not talk. We would not run. We would show them what they created. Because the war didn't just change Earth. It changed us. We weren't survivors anymore. We were a species born in fire. Forged in loss. Hardened by pain. And now, we were ready. Ready for the next war. Ready for the next threat. Ready to bring the fight to them. Humanity had finally fought back. Now, the galaxy would never forget. 1 year after the war, Earth looked different. Still broken. Still scarred. But no longer weak. Where cities once stood, launch pads rose. Where monuments had fallen, defense towers watched the sky. Humanity was no longer just rebuilding. We were evolving. Spaceports lit up the dark. Orbit was filled with steel, drones, new ships with human names and alien tech. No more war between ourselves. No borders. No armies. No politics. Only one goal. Never be caught off guard again. But then, something unexpected happened. Not an attack. Not an invasion. A visitor. The signal came from outside the solar system. Calm. Clean. Peaceful. Not Kethari. Not human. Something else. At first, the message was ignored. Too many traps. Too many memories. But after weeks of decoding, one line stood out. We are not enemies. We are what comes after the fire. The ship arrived quietly. It was small. No weapons. No shields. Just light. And a name. The Arieth. They looked strange, tall, thin, eyes like polished stone. Skin that shimmered like water. But they did not act like conquerors. They bowed when they landed. They asked for permission to speak. And when they spoke, they said, "We watched what happened. We watched how you bled. And how you did not stop. You did something no other young species has ever done. You made the Kethari run. They told us a truth we didn't expect. The Kethari had wiped out 13 species before us. Planets burned. Civilizations erased. None had ever fought back like humans. None had ever survived past day 3. We were the first. And so the Arieth had a proposal. Not war. Not peace. But something else. We offer knowledge. Maps. Warnings. In return, we ask only this. When others call for help, answer. There was silence in the human council. The wounds of war were still fresh. Many didn't trust it. But one voice rose up. A voice from the ruins of Nairobi. General Ashid Alain. Once a medic. Now leader of Earth's Defense Command. She stood before the world and said, "We fought alone. We bled alone. No one came for us. But if we want a galaxy that fears us less, maybe we need to show what humans do after the fight." And so, for the first time in history, humanity joined the stars not as victims, not as invaders, but as something new. A warning. The Arieth gave us jump coordinates. A map of ancient stargates. Charts of old battlegrounds, dead worlds, and living nightmares. We loaded our ships. We trained our crews. The first human exploration fleet left orbit 3 months later. It was called, the Flameborn Armada. They weren't soldiers. They weren't diplomats. They were hunters. Looking for signs of Kethari. Listening for distress calls. Leaving markers where they passed. Humanity was here. Help us, and we help you. Hurt us. And you will not get a second chance. On a dead planet in the Alvara system, we found the remains of a Kethari outpost. Burned. Empty. One human soldier stood before the ruins and whispered, "We remember." Then he carved a symbol into the stone. 2 hands. One broken. One clenched into a fist. That symbol became legend. A mark of Earth-born justice. Of chaos wrapped in purpose. Of a species that didn't start the fight but always finished it. And the galaxy began to change. Some feared us. Others reached out. Some tried to test us. A pirate fleet attacked a human escort ship in the Virex sector. They expected a slow response. They got 12 warships in 6 minutes. None of the pirates survived. The message was clear. Humanity wasn't hunting for glory. We were hunting for balance. We didn't forget the war. We carried the names of the dead with us. Every ship had a memorial wall. Every suit had a patch from the Six-Day War. Every captain knew the price of being silent when evil rises. We had fought back. We had survived. Now we would protect. And deep in the dark, past the edge of any map, the Kethari watched. And waited. And whispered to each other. They are coming.